And we continue to follow late-breaking news, a gas explosion at the Peace Officers Gun Range in Northwest Fresno. We have live team coverage, and we begin with Action News reporter Rick Montes. He's live near the scene. Rick, what can you tell us so far? You're looking at live pictures where a massive cleanup is still underway. Well, several hundred vehicles, including drivers from here in the valley, were stranded on the major north-south freeway. From these live pictures, you can see just how close everything is happening in proximity to each other. Very dangerous situation. This is very fluid, and we continue to follow this late-breaking news for you. We are coming on the air with breaking news. Injured Fresno Fire Captain Pete Dern is about to address the public. We are safe, and we rode out the storm. That's it from Maui. Back to you. I speak from experience. Potty training can be a frustrating and messy experience. But can you really potty train your toddler in just 3 days? Everybody asks you to do the Carlton. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Are you going to do it? Where we've accumulated your contributions under the hashtag ABC30Insider from all social media. Unless you're paying my bills and my children's clothing, you have no say in the way I parent. Good point. Since the meadow restoration work began, dozens of species have returned to live here in the meadow. The cast boarded a plane literally minutes after we spoke to them. In fact, we saw this picture posted on Good Morning America's Instagram. At the Houndstooth Inn in Oakhurst, a tranquil escape. Guests come for the peaceful surroundings. But uphill, a much different story. As the sky fire rages, tourists are nervous.
We haven't had to evacuate or anything yet, but it's definitely a lot smokier than it has been at all the whole time, and we're definitely noticing it.
We've talked about emergency procedures, if there was to be a fire, where we should go, the plan of action, I guess. But we're hoping we don't have to evacuate or put any of that into effect.
But despite the hazy skies and the billowing smoke, visitors are still flocking here on their way to Yosemite and Bass Lake. And no vacancy signs greet travelers at nearly every hotel.
We've had a couple guests call to see, if we're immediately in danger, and of course we're not, so they still plan to arrive and visit Yosemite as well.
No cancellations?
Not one cancellation yet.
So far, neither the effects of the drought nor wildfires have affected tourism here in Oakhurst. In fact, area hotels are reporting a record high in bookings.
They're at the height of their season. We're showing 20% increase over last year.
The Visitors Bureau has been busy answering anxious calls.
Can I get in? Am I safe? And of course they are.
Those kinds of reassurances are vital. Madera County's tourism industry is second only to ag for number of dollars brought in. Properties can hardly keep up. The historic Sierra Sky Ranch is undergoing extensive renovations. A grand opening date hasn't been set. But in the background, the most unwelcome visitor of all, the fire is extending its stay. In Oakhurst, Christine Park, ABC 30 Action News. Just off the runway at the Chandler Airport in Southwest Fresno.
Yeah, every day I come in here, so.
Both the conversation and coffee are flowing at Tailspin Tommy's Aerodrome Eatery.
The front nose wheel still hangs down.
Pilots and aviation enthusiasts make up most of the regulars.
A lot of the old timers come in here, a lot of new people come in here. They like flying in, they like the airport, a lot of history.
The dining space once served as the airport's main terminal, around since 1929. But for the owners, time and money ran out. Geneva McJunkin spent the day saying goodbye to customers.
That's for you, Charlie.
She and her husband poured their savings into the restaurant for 3 years.
Very emotional. Very emotional. I can't believe we won't have this place anymore.
But even with so much loss, there's something gained.
A lot of friendships that we had before have been strengthened because of this place. We have new friendships now that I know that we'll have forever.
Sit down if you don't mind sitting with me.
Shirley Bowling took her seat in her favorite corner, hoping this wasn't her last meal here.
I mean, this is such a neat place. I mean, just look. You can watch the planes come and go, and it's sad. I hope somebody else takes it over pretty quickly.
But for now, the last BLTs have been served, and the always welcoming open sign will go dark. There's no farming happening in these dry orange groves in Terabella. So all the activity is focused inside. At a workshop for tinkering, for creating, movie magic,
It's going to be really unique.
Star Wars magic, and the wizard, 49-year-old Michael McMaster, took us behind the curtain.
Well, if I had told my 11-year-old self, when I was watching Star Wars, that things like this would happen, I wouldn't believe it. It's almost too good to be true.
Under the watchful eye of Master Yoda, McMaster built a 12-foot-tall, 36-foot-long sand crawler.
It will be an exact reproduction of the scene that you saw in A New Hope when they were selling the droids in front of the Jawa sand crawler. And so I just weather everything, make it look rusty.
The 1-to-1 scale piece is actually based on blueprints from Lucasfilm, from the original movies.
Yeah, we were trying to keep the weight down. I used 1-inch steel tubing, the lightest tubing I could get, and it's skinned with plywood, just a 1/4-inch plywood. The rings are just foam that we cut and machined, and then we skinned those with a plastic and painted them.
Every detail painstakingly created.
There's never been anything like this before, and no one has tried to build one of these since 1976.
Until April 2015, when it was displayed front and center on the convention floor at Star Wars Celebration Anaheim.
Here we go. 1, 2, 3, one more.
Fans couldn't get enough.
I watched the process online, and I think it turned out amazing. I can't believe how much work they put into it. It turned out really great.
It even caught the attention of Hollywood. That's McMaster with Guillermo, Jimmy Kimmel's sidekick. That's Anthony Daniels, the actor who plays C-3PO. And here's the new Star Wars film director, J.J. Abrams, and producer Kathleen Kennedy.
For Michael, his Star Wars journey started about 13 years ago when he joined the R2-D2 Builders Club. From a few hundred members to now 14,000, some of its members are collaborating with filmmakers.
Two of those men spotted on stage alongside Abrams and Kennedy with the actual R2-D2 they made appearing in The Force Awakens. While McMaster's creation, Chopper, has traveled the world on behalf of his employer, Lucasfilm. Chopper is from the animated series Star Wars Rebels, made from scratch in McMaster's workshop.
That's great.
McMaster's faithful reproduction even wowed animators who created the character. And wherever Chopper goes, from Europe to Orlando, McMaster's there too. Any profit goes back into his farm.
So we were able to buy just enough water to keep the trees alive.
It's a dream job that started as a hobby and has now become a lifeline for McMaster, whose orange trees produced no crop this year.
This year we claimed insurance, but the insurance pays pennies on the dollar. So we're running off of savings and hoping that next winter is a wet winter.
Devastated by the drought, but saved by his droids. Christine Park, ABC 30 Action News. While he's here, the Pope will meet with President Obama, address Congress, speak at the United Nations in New York, and take part in a Vatican conference on families in Philadelphia. ABC's Karen Travers joins us live from Washington, D.C. with the very latest. Karen? All right, Karen, thank you for that live report. Well, the Pope will name a new saint tomorrow, and coming up in our next half hour, the controversy over that decision and the California connection. Jean, thank you. All residents forced out because of the rough fire in Fresno County can go home. All evacuation orders have been lifted. The wildfire is 70% contained after burning for almost 2 months. Firefighters are still dealing with several active areas of the fire, as you can see from this new infrared video. They say the hot weather this week caused the fire to flare up in the Grant Grove area, which will remain closed until Monday. The rough fire has charred more than 142,000 acres since it was started by a lightning strike on July 31st. A man is charged with elder abuse after allegedly punching a fellow Costco shopper over free Nutella waffle samples. It happened at the Burbank store Sunday morning. Witnesses say 24-year-old Derek Garabigi was taking several samples when a 78-year-old man scolded him and told him to take just one. That's when they say Garabigi punched the older man in the face. Investigators say the victim was hospitalized with a 1-inch cut and swelling above his eye. Garabigi is expected to appear in court this week. Well, still ahead, a contentious custody handover caught on camera. Also, service denied for a frequent flyer and his service dog. Why an American Airlines employee said they couldn't board, keeping them grounded through the weekend.